Hello and welcome to Running the Table, the podcast where we run through everything on the table in the world of sports. And more news from the NFL. Kyler Murray has finally signed his extension. The drama is over. He is a Cardinal.
There was definitely some interesting drama there for a bit.
There absolutely was. But now the debate is over as the next big quarterback signs his extension. So, Tim, you ready to go?
Yeah, this little extension brought us back out of the depths, but let's run it.
Yeah, some more NFL news. You always love
always happy to hear about news in the NFL community. We're here to cover it.
So Kyler Murray signed his extension with the Arizona Cardinals worth 5 years, $230.5 million. $160 million is guaranteed for injury, $105 million guaranteed upon signing. It's $46.1 million per year, which is the second most among quarterbacks behind the best quarterback in the NFL currently, Aaron Rodgers, and slightly more than Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson at $45 million a year. Kyler will be under contract until the 2028 season, which is his age 31 season. And what I think is really interesting about the contract is that it has language in the deal that voids guaranteed money if Kyler Murray goes and decides to play baseball, because he was a first-round pick by the Oakland Athletics.
With a guy like Murray, you have to put something in the contract there, or else he could go and have like a season or two struggling and just walk away from the game and just take whatever the rest of his guaranteed money and go play baseball for a living, because he could absolutely do that. And I'm sure there would be plenty of teams that would want to sign him just for, the name value. The same reason why you had guys like Russell Wilson go and test their little fun time with some of like the minor league teams and whatnot. Just to play around here and there. But I mean, it's definitely a unique part of the contract that you don't see very often. But teams got to do what they got to do.
Got to plan ahead. You got to plan ahead for any circumstance. Now, Kyler Murray, since he's entered the NFL, he has done nothing but have success. In 2019, he was the AP Offensive Rookie of the Year, and then he followed that up with back-to-back Pro Bowl seasons in 2020 and 2021. So he's definitely worth the money in terms of the quarterback market where it's at right now. I mean, $46 million a year for the next 5 years is a lot of dough, but for what he brings to the table in his rushing ability, his arm strength, being a high profile guy, being a former Heisman winner, everything, the Cardinals definitely lock down their guy. But let's take a little bit of a trip into the drama with Kyler Murray earlier this offseason, because his future was very uncertain. Earlier this offseason, he removed all mentions of the Arizona Cardinals on social media for whatever reason.
This kind of, especially as it was going on, and now that you see it come to a close, this kind of reminds me of like you have a good friend in middle school and you guys have one like big argument about something where it's just like, oh, this is it. And you go, and any pictures that you have posted them, anything that you have of theirs that you took over the years, like, oh, I'm going to go put this all aside. I'm wiping my slate clean. And then you have this nice little recollection of them
coming back in middle school.
I'm not saying we did. But you definitely saw stuff like that happen at times. But basically, it seemed a little immature to do the whole.
Yes, and that's the important point that we're trying to make here.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go wipe all of my social media clean to make everything get all riled up in the media of, oh my gosh, is he demanding for a trade? Is he leaving? So on and so forth. Just to kind of push the Cardinals' hand there. And trying to get those contract extension talks to be pushed. And I mean, in the end, it worked. But Van's getting paid a lot of money, as are so many of the good quarterbacks in this league. And I mean, if you're talking to me, it's too much for everybody across the table. I think that the market is utterly inflated in terms of the way these contracts are being built now. But regardless, your point of him being worth it compared to the rest of the quarterback market, I mean, I absolutely agree. He's one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the league that has a beautiful deep ball, can throw it on all three layers of the field, as well as take off and make his way around defenders when he needs to. There's not too many guys that are comparable in this league with his combination of athleticism and throwing ability. But the big thing for him for these next couple of years is he's got to prove that he can play at that high level consistently, because you saw that super hot start that the Cardinals have, and then the super massive drop off that they ended up having in the second half of the season that led to their exit in the playoffs.
Yeah, and he had a little taste of the playoffs where he wasn't that great, but the Cardinals are still on the upswing. They're building.
I mean, he's still growing. He's still learning a lot despite his talent. I know he's going to continue to get better, but he's got to prove that now he can be that consistent Pro Bowl quarterback, as opposed to being like almost like pushing supernatural level for half the season and then falling off a bit, where you've got to be able to keep this up for a whole season to lead your team.
Yeah, I remember last year where
victory.
like the Cardinals were on that super hot start. There's like Kyler Murray MVP talks, which was crazy to
and
think
there was
about.
talks of like, oh my gosh, are the Cardinals gonna like go undefeated? And then they lost like 7 games.
Yeah. But he is another major quarterback to get an extension. And if you want to compare this deal to a deal that happened most recently, it's Deshaun Watson's deal. Deshaun Watson is essentially the same deal in terms of money.
It's very close. Yeah.
5 years, $230 million. It's just the extra $500,000 more for Murray. I think the difference here is Deshaun Watson's deal is fully guaranteed.
Guaranteed money. The guaranteed money is what makes it entirely different. And what I thought was actually even more like kind of insane about
ludicrous given Deshaun Watson situation, but
yes, because not only the fact of yes, we don't know how much he's actually going to play, but also we haven't seen him in that long. And it's like, yes, of course, his talent level was crazy, but regardless of all of that, this is not as about him. But in that same sense is this deal is a little bit more traditional, where not as much of the money is guaranteed. You got to work for it. You got to be healthy. You got to play. You got to have the output for them. But he's in line to make a lot of money over these next 5 or so years and whatnot with this major deal.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good segue. Kyler Murray is now getting paid. There are a couple other marquee quarterbacks that are in line. Yeah, let's answer the question of who's next. And the big name that has popped up time and time again is Lamar Jackson. Yeah. How does this Kyler Murray deal impact Lamar Jackson?
People have been questioning of how he hasn't gotten his extension signed yet.
Yeah, of course. And of course, the Twitter banner, the I need money, the teeth. Lamar Jackson definitely making his point known that he wants to be paid, but some other names that are due for extension soon, Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow in that draft class, they could get paid. And
I think you can definitely see that out of this next year or two. You'll see those guys getting their extensions, especially given the fact of like their age. And you look, if they are able to continue with that high level of play this year, both of those guys are going to be getting just about as max extensions as they come, because they've shown to be pretty irreplaceable so far in their organizations. And those are not going to be guys that you want to let go.
Now, given that Kyler Murray is earning $46.1 million a year over the next 5 years, what will that mean for the other quarterbacks do? And
probably
I think they're gonna be some records broken. There are gonna be some records broken for AAV.
I mean, welcome to these deals as they go on year after year. You see guys keep breaking records like this just because of the general inflation of the market, and these deals just keep getting bigger.
Economics,
and bigger and bigger. You've seen it over these past. Just look at what contracts look like over this past decade, and that's why you've seen for the past like 4 or 5 years, just record after record after record.
Like 3 years ago, it was like when Kirk Cousins signed his contract worth like $30 million. People were like,
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, people are like, whoa, Kirk Cousins getting paid a lot of money. He's like,
and now he's like completely obsolete in terms of the numbers. Yeah,
like in highest paid. So it's kind of crazy how that shifted over the years. And it's like Tom Brady, who's taking a $25 million contract year after year after year. And it's like, that's becoming more and more of a discount. And Tom Brady's doing his usual thing of, hey, freeing up money so we can go sign other guys so we can build a team around him. But I definitely think Lamar Jackson in particular is going to ask for north of $50 million. And I'll be darned if the Ravens don't give it to him because of, because, he's already won an MVP. He's won a bunch of games. He's taken them to the playoffs every single year, except for this past year. But that's
some of that injury, some
because
of
he wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
But now he's back and fully healthy. We know what Lamar Jackson brings to the table, and we know what he can do. So I definitely think that
he's a game changer.
Yeah, because not because of Kyler Murray, but just because I think the money that these quarterbacks
it has ripple effects. All of these extensions getting signed have ripple effects across the league.
I think Kyler Murray's deal impacts Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow in terms of monetary value, like how much they're getting, but in terms of like the actual figures of the contract, I think it's going to be more like Deshaun Watson, where they're going to want that fully guaranteed money rather than just being paid, in chunks or have this much guaranteed and have this much incentive based.
It's definitely it's a deal that we've seen coming for a while and we've expected, because despite all of the drama surrounding the Kyler situation, I mean, it was pretty clear even from the get-go that they weren't going to just let him go that easily. He's a huge part of their team and their answer at quarterback that they've been looking for. So like you said, it sets quite a precedence for what we'll see coming up for some of these quarterbacks. But I mean, until then, Kyler's got his deal. The ball is in his court now. You got your contract. You got the big money that you wanted. Now you got to bring the Cardinals somewhere. Yeah. Where are you going to take them?
Another quarterback, another large extension in the books. And until then, in terms of NFL news, we will await for the next major piece of NFL news to break, wherever that may be. But in the meantime, go watch a lot of our other stuff. We have tons of other sports. Baseball season's in full spring. We did basketball, we did hockey, and we'll obviously be covering football as that season draws nearer and nearer. Can't wait. So we got a lot of stuff cooking. Can't wait to bring it to you. But like and subscribe for more content from us, and we out.
Running the Table is now on TikTok.